We heard it during the crisis in 2011, the events of 96, right? When the banner of the guardianship of the jurist was raised above the national flag. I mean, imagine, Jamal, at the start of this fierce war, missiles hitting Bahrain, and someone on social media, a Bahraini affiliated with them, says, "Is there any more?" while laughing. Imagine that. I mean, your country provided you with security, provided you with safety, free education, housing, employment, a decent life. I mean, look, Jamal, if you'll allow me, I assure you that every Iranian citizen out of the 95 million citizens you mentioned dreams of Gulf citizenship. Whichever one it is, from Kuwait to Oman.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Jamal Al Mullah from the UAE. This is Gulf Uncensored in cooperation with the Arab Strategy Forum. Someone once said, to succeed in passing off a big lie, you must surround it with many small truths. Imagine with me, 47 years. And Iran issues hostile statements against America and takes antagonistic stances against America and sometimes launches some missiles. Right? These are some of the small truths that are released to protect the big lie. But where is the big lie? Bring the proof, Al-Mullah, if you are truthful, and listen to the story. In an interview with Hashmi Rafsanjani in 1997, the famous American broadcaster Mike Wallace said to him, the broadcaster said to him, "Let's play a game. I am the United States and you are Iran. I will give you money." "What will you give me?" Rafsanjani replied with a smile and said, "Then we will be ready to talk to you." Rafsanjani, in the same interview, spoke about marriage contracts in Tehran for a day or two and considered it, a natural thing to satisfy instincts. It can be said that Iran loves America a lot, but it's a one-sided love, and that America has been involved with Iran more than once through one-day marriage contracts to satisfy its instincts. This happened in Afghanistan, it happened in Iraq, and it happened in Tehran itself when the Iran-Contra scandal broke. This was the time when Israel facilitated Iran's acquisition of weapons from America in its war against Saddam Hussein's regime. A one-sided love, these feelings of love were carried by Sadiq Kharazi, Ahmadinejad, and Hassan Rouhani, Muhammad Jawad Zarif, Ibrahim Raisi, Abbas Araqji, and Masoud Pezeshkian. But the stubborn American does not like to be linked to Iran in a formal relationship. He only wants it to satisfy his instincts. But Iran continues to seek affection, even if for one day here and another day there. Was Faisal Qasim exaggerating when he called it the axis of dalliance? In 2003, this man, Tim Guldiman, arrived in Washington in his capacity as the Swiss ambassador to Tehran. He held the position of custodian of American interests in Iran. He arrived with an Iranian document in hand, a new love letter. Don't forget that in 2003, American soldiers were to the east and west of Iran in Afghanistan and Iraq. The document, prepared by Sadiq Kharazi, had received the Supreme Leader's approval. The offer stunned American circles as Tehran announced its readiness to abandon support for Hamas and Islamic Jihad and pressure them to stop their attacks against Israel and support the disarmament of Hezbollah and its transformation into a political party, and accept the Saudi peace plan issued in 2002 and the readiness to hand over Afghan fighters to America. But what happened? American intransigence broke Iran's heart and tore up the Iranian love letter. And Bush appeared in a famous speech describing Iran as part of the axis of evil, from Tim Guldiman 20 years ago to Badr al-Busaidi. At the beginning of this year, the delivery of love letters and Iran's concessions to the Great Satan, or to Iran's American Prince Charming, continued. But American intransigence always repelled this love and ended this relationship. Iran's Prince Charming actually prefers to engage in bilateral and respectful relations with stable, influential entities and countries with a global presence such as Gulf, European and Asian nations. Iran's Prince Charming prefers his relationship with Iran to be a fleeting one, a one-day marriage contract. As Rafsanjani said, to satisfy America's interests and instincts. And these fleeting relationships, you see, are many, embodied in the Bonn and Geneva conferences in the case of Afghanistan, and the London Conference for the Iraqi opposition in 2002 in the case of Iraq, and the nuclear deal in 2015. Someone wondered, why didn't Iran use the Strait of Hormuz as a weapon during the genocide in Gaza? The answer, my dear, is that Iran makes use of Palestine essentially just as it makes use of Hormuz. Both are merely tools used to persuade the American side to come to the negotiation bed. Excuse me, the negotiation table. And Hezbollah, Hamas, the Al-Houthi, and the loyalist Iraqi militias are nothing but seductions and lingerie that Iran puts on in a long, one-sided love affair. And toxic with the American Prince Charming, so that he comes to the negotiation bed, excuse me once again, to the negotiation table. Iran's gendered coy behavior is always evident in the gradual way they announce a relationship. At first, there are absolutely no negotiations happening. In the middle, yes, there are some indirect negotiations taking place. Finally, yes, we are now in the negotiation bed. Oh, excuse me, for the third time at the negotiation table. They play hard to get while they are actually willing, or they enjoy it while being the ones who want it. We now go to our guest for more details on the history of Iranian coyness. We now turn to our guest from the sisterly kingdom of Bahrain, our brother Mr. Ibrahim al-Naham, journalist and writer for the Al-Balad al-Bahrainiyya newspaper. Welcome to the show, Gulf Uncensored.
Thank you. Brother Jamal, it is a pleasure to meet you and the audience of your wonderful, interesting, and beautiful platform that everyone follows and appreciates.
Iran raises the slogan, "Death to America." But when you look at the history of Iran and America, you see there was a love affair in the 80s, for example, in Iran. Contra, during the invasion of Iraq, there was communication and deals between them. How do you explain that?
First, Brother Jamal, we are not talking about a state. We are talking about a gang, a criminal clique that has controlled the affairs of the Iranian state for 47 years. This criminal clique represents neither the Shia sect nor the ethnic components in Iran. It represents only itself. This criminal clique hijacked the Shia sect and used it as a cover to seize minds and attract even Arab Shia in neighboring Arab countries. And this is something they have actually succeeded in for decades, and we might talk about it later. But regarding this point, Brother Jamal, look, the principles this criminal clique follows crumble when they clash with their interests against Arab nations. You find them following a certain path, Brother Jamal. But if this path, even if their interests are in it, clashes with Arab interests, they abandon their interests and head in another direction. Destroying Arab nations, Brother Jamal, and targeting them, especially on the shores of the Arabian Gulf, and it is an Arabian Gulf, whether people like it or not. You find them taking steps back and even opening channels with Israel under the table. They have no problem. It is true they have enmities with Western regimes because they stand as a nail in the coffin of their bloody tyrannical project. But whenever any dispute with the Arabs arises, they turn to any dirty hand to shake, whoever it may be. This is their habit, their style, and their policy, and we know that. And we know that these people have no principle, no religion, no sense of peace, no respect for good neighborly relations, no respect for international legitimacy, nor for the sovereignty of states at all. That's why we're suffering, and the Iranian people are suffering, Brother Jamal. If we in the Gulf suffer 100% from the actions of this thuggish regime, then perhaps the Iranian people suffer 500% because they're the ones being burned day and night by this ethnic Persian, sectarian, thuggish, Hitlerite Aryan regime.
There are 95 million Iranians today living under the weight of this oppressive regime. You'd find it strange that there are some Arab citizens who actually applaud Iran. Honestly, it's bizarre. They're more Iranian than the Iranians themselves.
Look, Brother Jamal, look what you've just touched upon now. You, doctor, have put your finger on a very painful wound, and I personally have spoken about this matter time and time again. Even, for many years, whether on satellite TV or through my writings in the Al-Balad newspaper and elsewhere. Look, Brother Jamal, the sect, or rather, the doctrine of Wilayat al-Faqih is a nascent doctrine, not even 50 years old. This nascent doctrine, my dear brother, was politicized by hijacking the Shia sect, and it transformed and evolved over time, Brother Jamal. Right, they started first by hijacking the Shia sect so they could be the global center for the Shia faith around the world, okay? And based on that, they established groups or arms, or what are known today as proxy wars, especially in Bahrain. We, the people of Bahrain, imagine the Bahrainis who were arrested in various cells since the start of this fierce and unjust war against us, they were all Bahrainis. Arabs with no Persian roots. Imagine, if you said they were naturalized Iranians of 50 or 40 years, you might say it's in their genes, but you're talking about Arabs, all of them Bahraini Arabs. So how did Iran manage to brainwash them? Through doctrine, my dear brother, through the Husseinias. They invoke the name of Al-Hussein for everything, right? In the mourning houses. And these young people grew up with this brainwashed mindset. Thus, Iran was able to penetrate Arab countries, and specifically where, brother? They always start with impoverished groups with simple families. Why? Because they're easy to penetrate and easy to influence. Perhaps these groups are critical and resentful, not just in the Gulf, but even in Lebanon and Iraq about living conditions or whatever else. So the regime would seize on these things, using them to feed the doctrine and fuel dissent against the ruling systems. So over time, what happened, Brother Jamal? These groups began to undermine the ruling regimes and the social fabric until they reached a point where they only recognized their own kind. That's when the banner of Wilayat al-Faqih was raised above the national flag. I mean, imagine, Brother Jamal, at the start of this fierce war, missiles were hitting Bahrain, and a Bahraini on social media, one of their supporters, comes out saying, "Is there any more?" while laughing. Imagine that. I mean, your country provided you with security and safety, free education, housing, employment, a dignified life. I mean, look, Brother Jamal, if you'll allow me, I can assure you that every Iranian citizen out of the 95 million citizens you mentioned dreams of having Gulf citizenship, whatever it may be, from Kuwait to Oman. Right? They dream of it because they see their country living in dark caves, right, Brother Jamal? From poverty, hunger, oppression, and the repressive police. And what we see and hear about, and many things we don't know about, brother, we only see the tip of the iceberg. And on the other hand, what do they see on the other side of the Arabian Gulf? And it is an Arabian Gulf. Whether one likes it or not, they see prosperity, they see development, they see luxury, they see education, they see special relations between the ruler and the ruled. I mean, Brother Jamal, look, perhaps you followed at the beginning of this war. Unfortunately, some Arab brothers in some Arab countries came out gloating over the missiles hitting the UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and others, and they still do today. I can assert 3 points on this matter. Brother Jamal, the first point is that they don't move without their government's approval. Impossible. You tell me, impossible. You tell me someone comes out, right, on his personal account and insults Kuwait, insults Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and says, "You'll come to us." You'll come to us as what? Refugees.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's one. Two, the envy and jealousy of the prosperity we live in the Gulf and the luxury. They, are eating dirt, and they see the Gulf regimes, how wise ruling regimes deal with their people and shower them with goodness. Right? And they try to export their cultures to us with the failure of the revolution and Arab nationalism. We don't want these things. Long life to you, for the good people of the Gulf, our relations are actually based on lineage, kinship, and blood ties. And no matter how much we differ, we remain brothers and one family. And we don't want anyone to interfere in our problems if they exist. We, Brother Jamal, are able to solve our problems. The second thing, Brother Jamal, is that we won't wait for our solutions from anyone. And we, Brother Jamal, look, when this crisis happened, the brutal Iranian war, the Gulf states didn't ask for help from anyone. Some state representatives and political figures appeared on channels. I used to watch Al Arabiya and others. I mean, they were talking. Did the Gulf states ask for help in this war? They didn't ask anyone. So why are you answering questions that weren't even asked in the first place? Weren't even asked.
2 days ago, Al Jazeera, I'd like a comment from you since you're a Bahraini journalist. Al Jazeera English published a report on Bahrain. Have you seen it?
I saw it, yes, and I was one of the people. I mean, what can I say about that report? I mean, look, we are now unfortunately facing a disinformation campaign, a fierce one. Brother Jamal, from the Iranians. I mean, the Iranians are advanced. Brother Jamal, unfortunately, by long strides in misleading media. They have experience because it's dirty, right? This is their game, right? So imagine, I mean, for years and years, they've been using social media platforms, and they launched Al Alam channel, this press TV channel. I forgot its name. I don't remember it exactly.
Mayadeen and Al Manar.
And Al Maya, there's also Press TV in Europe and Al Lolua and others, okay? Look, regardless of their nationalities, they share the same ideology. Al Mayadeen will publish any project against Bahrain. Al Alam will publish any project against the UAE. They'll publish it, Brother Jamal. It's like a marriage bond between them, as if they're married to one another. Between them, as if they're married to one another truly. So today, Brother Jamal, you're not just facing an enemy, a regional oppressor that deals with neighboring countries, not as neighbors, but as a project for exporting the revolution. Our primary and ultimate problem since the mullahs came to power in 1979, Brother Jamal, until today, is what? Our main issue is that they don't see us as neighbors, Jamal. They see us as a project for exporting the revolution. That's why for years they've worked on establishing what are called groups or proxies. Okay, why did they focus on these groups and proxies, Brother Jamal?
Yes.
Because they're cheap, low cost.
And their impact is huge.
And their impact is huge. And from whom? From whom? From whom, Brother Jamal? From the local people. Okay, and where's Iran? Far away. Now look, imagine, we've never heard in Bahrain of a cell being arrested, communicating with the Revolutionary Guard. Not now, not in 2011, nor in 96, where Iran came out and said, we're responsible for them, we want to negotiate, we want them released, and we'll do whatever you want.
Oh, so they abandoned them?
Immediately, yes, of course. Yes.
Incredible. So the cells that get arrested in Bahrain, Iran just discards them, leaves them to their fate?
Yes, they don't care about them. Okay. So imagine. And despite that, what, Brother Jamal? They don't learn from experience.
Okay, so now American relations. Let's go back to American-Iranian relations. It's now slipped into this war. Some say this isn't the United States war, it's Israel's war. What's your take?
That's incorrect. Look, Brother Jamal, from my perspective, of course, and I might be wrong, okay, or I might be right. In my view, the real cause of this war is the accumulation of conflict files. You know? And these conflict files aren't new, Brother Jamal. I mean, look at yesterday, for example, what did Trump say? He said, this is the country that's been calling for death to America for over 47 years. There are, my dear brother, accumulated conflict files. These accumulated conflict files relate to proxy wars, maritime security, the nuclear file, ballistic missiles, the constant threat to America, death to America and Israel too. Old files dating back to 1953. I mean, those were the real beginnings of the conflict, Brother Jamal. And you know better than I, you're a great scholar. The beginnings were, they were in 1953, when the British and the Americans overthrew the government of Mohammad Mossadegh, okay? So that was the start of the clash between the West and Iran. And it progressed and continued until 1979. The turbans arrived and destroyed everything. And I consider the turbans, I mean, in Iran, it's often said they harmed the Gulf states. I'm telling you, they didn't just do that. They harmed the entire planet. They destroyed the world. Since they arrived, no one has seen any good from them. Not in Bahrain, nor anywhere else in the world. They turned Iran from a great ancient nation with 3,000 years of history, the state of Persia, a vast country, rich in culture, science, and civilization, with maritime reach, resources like gas and oil, an educated, sophisticated people, a beautiful country with diverse climates. It became a gateway for global terrorism. Today, when you hear the name Iran, it's terrorism, bombings, pillars of smoke rising into the sky. This is the Iran that has become ingrained in people's minds. So I'm telling you, Brother Jamal, the relationship between them evolved until these confrontational issues piled up. I mean, Israel accelerated the war. Yes, but the core is the accumulation of these confrontational issues.
Right. Steve Witkoff appeared, who is, as you may already know, the chief American negotiator in the recent talks. Talks that, I should mention, were managed or mediated by Oman. He says, I sat with the Iranians for 3 meetings. In the first meeting, the Iranians came in bragging that they have 460 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, which I mean could be used to make 11 nuclear bombs if it reaches 90%. He says, how do you reason with someone like that? We tell them, we're going to take this away from you, it must be reduced. They say, no, we'll see, we'll delay it, and... What's your comment on that? I mean, some people are casting doubt, saying, well, the fault lies with the West, with America, and that the Iranians were being honest and had no problem.
Look, Jamal, this question of yours is, well, it's loaded. Okay, so the loaded part, I won't answer. I'll give you the first part.
All right.
The first part, Brother Jamal, look.
Who should we believe, I mean? That's my point. Please, go ahead.
I'll tell you. Iran, the state it has reached today of total widespread destruction. Rouhani came out yesterday saying, we must save Iran from what it has become. Why has Iran reached this state, Brother Jamal? Because these successive failed and foolish regimes in Tehran still, Brother Jamal, rely on strategic experts who are outdated. I mean, they don't have, Brother Jamal, a correct reading of the situation, right? And this situation is what led them to a 12-day war with Israel. And this situation is what brought them to the state they are in now. I mean, look, Iran is moving hundreds of years backwards. The blackbirds, those giant blackbirds coming from America, the B-52 and the B-51. And this means you're talking about, how should I put it? You're talking about mobile airports in the sky carrying thousands of bombs, right? So this narrow vision is what brought Iran to the current situation they've reached today. I mean, imagine a 12-day war didn't teach them any lessons.
Why are they being stubborn? Why are they being stubborn? Why the stubbornness?
Well, look, I believe that today in Iran, the voice of wisdom, Brother Jamal, has been sidelined due to the Revolutionary Guard's infiltration into the state's core. I mean, before there was Khamenei as the leader and there was a republic managing the civil state. The situation is completely different today. Brother Jamal, those who control Iran are the commanders of the 9 Corps in the Revolutionary Guard. And from what I've read, these people have the authority to take control and act based on their own personal judgment in the event the leader or the top ranks in Iran are killed. Of course, the Iranians aren't naive, and they certainly have, brother. Jamal, lessons learned from what? Lessons learned from the conflicts happening around them. I mean, their only problem, Brother Jamal, is that they've gotten involved in an issue that's none of their business, which is the nuclear issue. And it's only natural that America and Israel won't allow a state in the region to have a continuous breeding ground for rigid and extremist leaders who always call for the destruction of Israel and America, that they'd let them have nuclear weapons. Look, even Russia and China, why are they silent now? Perhaps, as the Americans say, there's Russian support under the table. Why? Because they know very well, Brother Jamal, that the future doesn't belong to the Iranian regime. The future belongs to the Gulf states. Saudi Arabia and the Emirates, that is the future. I mean, they're not going to risk their relationship with the Gulf states today for the sake of what? The Iranian regime, especially since they know that this regime is illegitimate, both internally and on
the external level. I have a technical question, if you allow me, that just occurred to me. America and Israel don't allow or won't allow Iran to possess nuclear weapons, but Pakistan has them and it's fine. Why is it fine for Pakistan but not for Iran?
Look, my dear brother, I mean, I can't elaborate on this question extensively because I'm not a specialist in it, but I can give you just the tip of the iceberg as an answer. The Pakistanis shocked the world and surprised the West when they acquired nuclear weapons. I mean, Abdul Qadir Khan, may God have mercy on him, provided a great service, as he said, not just to Pakistan, but a great service to the Islamic world by having an Islamic state that possesses nuclear weapons. Pakistani intelligence, Brother Jamal, and you know better than I do, is currently ranked roughly 4th or 5th in terms of strength worldwide. It's not an easy thing. Pakistani intelligence, I mean, the Pakistanis are becoming like Egypt. The military establishment is separate on its own, with its own strategic environment and its own doctrine. It's hard for any country to penetrate it, very hard. That's why when their last war with India happened and the Pakistani army chief hinted at using nuclear weapons, the next day Trump and everyone started intervening because they know the Pakistanis don't mess around when it comes to plus. On top of that, my dear brother, the Pakistanis are known for their strong doctrine. I mean, the people of Pakistan, the Baloch, the Pashtuns, and others are known to be people of doctrine. Look at America today. What is its policy with Pakistan? Containment. It contains Pakistan, but it doesn't control it. Why? Because the Pakistanis deal with the Americans cautiously, knowing that the Hindu enemy is lying in wait for them. So there are standards. And today, Pakistan has, Brother Jamal, 170 nuclear missiles, okay? An old state, a deep state. How can you? I mean, look, some naive people have come out recently saying, you know, once they're done with Iran, they'll go to Pakistan. The Pakistanis in a 4-day war, they were ready to go nuclear, right? You're going to tell them, I want to topple your regime, remove your state, and, right? I mean, the Pakistanis.
They don't play around?
They don't, I'm telling you, they're well known. Go ahead.
Yes, is it possible? I mean, in case we don't know how this war will end, but some people say the regime will remain weaker and frail like Saddam Hussein after the liberation of Kuwait, for example, but it will remain. Can relations be restored if the regime stays? Can Gulf-Iranian relations be restored if this regime remains after the war?
I doubt that. Look, Brother Jamal, today we in the Gulf states don't deal with a regime. We deal with standards, foundations, and conditions that the Gulf states put on the table and demand. I mean, the Gulf states don't care if this regime stays, goes, or changes. That's a matter for America and Israel. We in the Gulf states, Brother Jamal, I mean, the Gulf states today, I assure you that they will emerge, first of all, stronger and more benefited from this crisis, not just regarding Iran, but even regarding the fragile Arab states, which the Gulf states haven't failed to support or help. And in the end, not even a statement of condemnation came from them, right? But yeah, I'm telling you, the Gulf states will come out with lessons learned at all levels from this crisis regarding Iran and regarding the new cross-border alliances and regarding the Arab House. As for the Iranian regime, there are conditions on the table that the Gulf states set and emphasize every day to Trump and others, that we won't be observers of any solutions that occur, but rather will be a primary party at the negotiating table, which is what? Ending the nuclear file, ending the Iranian nuclear file, and setting strict controls on the file. Ballistic missiles, because what was being said before turned out to be true. Look at what Iran is doing today. 85% of its arsenal is aimed at the Gulf states. What is all this hatred? Do you hate Arabs to this extent? What did the Arabs do to you? Umar ibn al-Khattab died 1500 years ago, right? And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq also 1500 years ago. Khalid ibn al-Walid, who conquered Persia, died 1500 years ago too. Enough, we're done with this. Assad, how long must we live with this ethnic, sectarian, divisive hatred? Ever since this regime came to power, Jamal, it has created the S&H in the Islamic world. Sunni and Shia. We didn't used to know Sunni and Shia. Sectarian division only appeared in the Islamic world because of this mercenary, sectarian, ethnic regime in Tehran.
What was the situation of the Shia in Bahrain before 79? I'm curious to know. I mean, how was the life of the Shia with the Sunnis in Bahrain?
How can I explain it to you?
I mean, was there really an Iranian cultural influence that split society in Bahrain like this? Or were people just living together, you know?
Your questions, Jamal, I consider them almost like B-52 bombs being dropped right on Tehran. Well, look, before the year 79, the Shia in Bahrain were more liberal, secular, and modernist than the Sunnis.
Amazing.
Take it as a rule. And Sunni-Shia intermarriage was high. It's still there in Bahrain, you know, intermarriage still exists in Bahrain. But at that time, it was the closeness, I mean, in marriage and kinship was much higher than it is now. So today we see beautiful stories. You find, for example, a well-known Shura council member whose wife is Sunni, or a big businessman in Bahrain who is Sunni and his sister married a Shia man. These things exist. These examples exist, okay. In a contrasting image, look, in a contrasting image during the events of 2011, those who stood on the stage at the roundabout and raised their hands while holding the hands of political association leaders, demanding the fall of the regime, right? Among them was the socialist Shia, holding the hand of the cleric. Look, and among them was the liberal, the secularist, and the modernist. So how did these people unite when they always fight the religious current and always tell you it's the cause of destruction and our backwardness, right? You meet with a secularist, why would he support the religious current? How did they agree then and all end up holding hands like that? The Iranian project. Look, even in their backgrounds, I'm not talking about everyone, Jamal. I'm talking about a segment of them. You find him to be a Marxist or a secularist, but in his background, Khamenei is there. You find them like cells, the gray cells in the brain, dormant, waking up like whenever the right opportunity arises.
God help us. May God deliver us from their evil, Mr. Ibrahim.
God bless you. May God grant you a long life, Jamal.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim Naham. It's been an honor having you with us today on Gulf Uncensored. Bahraini journalist and writer for Al Bilad newspaper, Mr. Ibrahim Naham. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for this opportunity, and I wish you all the best, Jamal.
God bless you. Our regards to Bahrain.
My regards. Goodbye.
Take care. That was our journey for today's episode. Be sure to follow us on social media, arabcast.ae, and suggest more great guests like Mr. Ibrahim Naham. Stay tuned for more. From the UAE, this is Gulf Uncensored.